Good morning, friends, partners, and allies. It's my honor to welcome you to the U.S. Embassy's 2024 Election Watch Party. And it is also my honor to introduce the U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines, Mary Kay Carlson.
And welcome to the U.S. Embassy's Election Watch event. Thank you very much for joining us as we celebrate one of the foundational elements of democracy, Election Day. One person, one vote. A simple concept, but with profound consequences. We as U.S. citizens get to choose our leaders. Here in the Philippines, Filipino citizens also cherish the right to cast their ballots and make their voices heard. Sadly, not all people around the world enjoy this fundamental right. As friends, partners, and allies, we hold each other accountable to live up to our highest democratic ideals, including and maybe especially on Election Day. Our systems of government, though far from perfect, strive to enshrine the rule of law and protect the equality and dignity of all people, one person, one vote at a time. As Abraham Lincoln said, democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. When the political parties compete freely on a level playing field, when voters' rights are respected, and when election outcomes are upheld with a peaceful transition of power, societies are more prosperous and secure. And if governments fall short, voters can vote the other way the next time. That's the power of democratic elections. Citizens know they have a stake in the outcome and that they will be able to make their opinions known in the next ballot as well, thereby holding candidates accountable. That's how we, as citizens in a democracy, shape government policies. Voting is a privilege, but it also comes with obligations. Which brings me to another, less well-known quote by Abraham Lincoln, who said, "Elections belong to the people. It's their decision. If they decide to turn their back on the fire and burn their behinds, then they will just have to sit on the blisters." In the U.S. federal system, the voting rules are set and regulated by each state. The process can often feel messy and uncomfortable, and even a little bit confusing. Those of you who've had a chance to visit some of our information booths here may have learned some things you didn't know about U.S. elections. I know I learn something new every voting season. That's because in the U.S. system, the administration of elections is highly decentralized. Elections are administered by thousands of state and local officials, not by a single monolithic national entity. Although states and even counties within those states each have their own systems for casting and counting ballots, they all have extensive checks and balances in place to ensure that votes are counted as cast. We can be assured that in each voting locality, there are dedicated election officials and civic volunteers working hard to uphold the sanctity of the secret ballot. The U.S. presidential election at the national level is certainly the most high profile of the elections taking place across America today, but there are hundreds of others occurring at the state and local level. In addition to casting their ballot for president, American voters are also selecting U.S. House and Senate representatives, governors, state legislatures, municipal leaders, judges, and more. Those local decisions can be just as impactful on individuals' lives in each community as the presidential election. Here in Manila, the U.S. Embassy has been helping thousands of U.S. citizens who live here participate in the 2024 election, just as we do at all U.S. embassies and consulates around the world. Through the Federal Voting Assistance Program, we've been providing U.S. citizens with information they need to cast their ballots for national, state, and local elections, depending on their U.S. state of residence. Some states allow the ballots to be cast via the internet or email. Others require completed ballots to be sent in by snail mail. And for those, we've been accepting envelopes with voted ballots at the U.S. Embassy and our Veterans Affairs Office to be forwarded to state election officials. The election and the democratic process do not end on Election Day. As the playwright Tom Stoppard famously said, "It's not the voting that's democracy, it's the counting." And that's where we are now. As the polls close across the United States, the vote counting begins. And time may be required to count all those votes and let the electoral process work. Waiting for results is a sign that the process is working as intended and that all votes are being counted. Once again, thank you to all of you for coming to celebrate democracy with us here today. And if you've not done so, please take time to visit the education spread around the room on U.S. Electoral College, voting rights, political parties, and federalism. Our volunteers welcome your questions and views. And please also take the opportunity to cast your own vote. Stand on the debate stage and take photos with the candidates. Enjoy the event, and before I wrap up, I just want to say thank you to all of our friends, partners, and allies. I've received personal notes from many of you, and our staff has, wishing us well and sending us your prayers on this important day. We thank you for that. And I also want to thank the team at the U.S. Embassy and our partners, and including the wonderful staff here at the Fairmont for the outstanding decorations and food that they put together for us this morning. So thank you again for being here, and let's celebrate democracy.
Good morning and happy Election Day. We are here to celebrate a festival of democracy. And of course, the Philippines understands elections as well as anyone does. You have a vibrant democracy here in the Philippines, just as we do in the United States. We have been helping at the U.S. Embassy thousands of Americans who reside here in the Philippines to cast their ballots. We have, through the Federal Voting Assistance Program, I, for example, voted as soon as I could in the state of Virginia, which was in September, and cast my ballot. Some states have different rules. Some require that you put the ballot in the mail. And in those cases, the U.S. Embassy has been accepting ballots at our Veterans Facility and at our U.S. Embassy. But other states allow you to vote through the internet. So it depends on the state. We have a highly decentralized system, but that's the flexibility and the vibrancy of the U.S. electoral process. We are so excited to watch the returns here with you all today.